It's such a diminishing feeling and space to think about yourself and your life. And it's quite limiting in your belief when you're in the US and you look at yourself as a color. Like, it's a really big deal. But as a Black woman living abroad, I just feel that when I'm in rooms, when I'm in spaces and places, I have so many opportunities to represent us and to show that American Black women are powerful, we're smart, we're educated, we're natural born leaders. In case you guys haven't known that, it's a Forbes proven fact that we are natural born leaders and we're awesome. Also, mind you, all Black women, but all women are amazing, okay? But I did just want to speak to my American Black girls who are thinking like, oh my gosh, do I do this? Do I make the move? Do I move abroad? Absolutely. The biggest question that everyone asks me when I tell them that I live in Barcelona or that I live in Spain or that I've just lived abroad, everyone's like, girl, is it safe for a Black girl? Hey guys, my name is Ashlee Braxton. I'm a Black woman living abroad. I've been living here in Barcelona, Spain for about 5 years. Before that, I was living in Paris, France for 5 years. And I've lived in various cities around Europe for shorter amounts of time. So I've lived in London, I lived in Lisbon, and I've lived in a few cities all around Italy. I've been 10 years out of the US, and it was the best decision that I've ever made. I absolutely love living in Europe, and to be fair, I don't think that I could move back to the US, although I do love my country. I've just been living here, and I love it so much. I want to get into a series about moving abroad, and today I want to answer your questions about safety. Is it safe to move abroad? Is it safe for Black women? Where is it safe to travel? Where is it not safe? My goal, my dream is to inspire other women, other Black women to travel, to explore the world, and to just experience life outside of the US. Mind you, I'm sharing my experience with you from my own experience. I'm a Black American and I've moved abroad. My perspective of life is quite different than everyone else's. So please be gentle, be kind, and understand that I'm speaking as a Black American who has moved and lived abroad for a decade, guys, okay? So first and foremost, is it safe? You guys, it is so safe here in Europe. And I think one thing that Americans have to understand is that in Europe, the rules about guns and the laws that they have here are very different than the US. So people do have guns, but it's mostly the military. And if they have guns, then they have to have a special license to have a gun. So no one's actually walking around on the streets with a gun in their pocket, or you're not going to find a kid that just has a gun or could experience that. One thing that I always find interesting is that when I go into a movie theater, subconsciously, I'm always looking for an exit to be like, oh, the exit is over there. And I often think about that, and I just notice that that's something that I've done as an American, just always look for the exits in case somebody has a gun. But here in Europe, it's not necessary. I can actually relax and enjoy my life and watch the movie and chill. That pressure is just lowered. It's taken down a lot. And when you're here in Europe, I just noticed how much my senses were heightened in the US because there's always something to look after or something to look at or just be heightened and aware of like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? You don't have that in Europe. Another thing that a lot of you guys have questions about is racism. What's it like over here in Europe? And I have to say, in the US, it's very racist in terms of colorism. Now, let me be clear. Racism exists everywhere in the world, you guys. That's why I encourage people to go out and travel, is because you're going to see racism in every place, every side of the world. And sometimes it's colorism or sometimes it's classism. There's just so many different types of racism, and each country has its own faults and each country has its own strengths. But I do have to say in America, the colorism, the segregation of color, and the racism of color is very, very strong. And it's not something that's attached to the rest of the world. So for example, here in Europe, when people ask you where you're from, you say that you're an American. I say I'm an American because I'm from the US. Now, that's it. I'm from the US, period. And they may ask you, okay, but where are you from in the US? And sometimes people will ask you, but like, where are you from? Maybe they think that you're from Africa or some different parts of the world. Europeans have a very deep history of their origins and they know where they're from, and that's awesome. Sometimes we don't have this in the US, and if you know your origins, then that's super cool. Mine are over here. You can press pause and look at where mine are from. But not everyone knows where they're from in the US. But you're an American. My passport says United States of America. I'm an American. And that's it. I don't have to be a Black African American. I don't have to put myself so low as a color. I just get to be an American. And because the way the world is set up, honestly, you guys, having an American passport and being an American is more of an advantage than a disadvantage from what I have experienced. From what I've experienced with work, getting my visa, just becoming an entrepreneur. When people ask me where I'm from and I say I'm from America, they just know that we come from the land of opportunity. The way we operate, the way we move, the way we're big dreamers, the way we're big thinkers. We think differently. We've had this different mindset than how Europe conducts business and in the world. So I do have to admit, you guys, being an American has become an asset to me, and I use it to my advantage. As a Black woman, it feels really, really good to show up in jobs and interviews and show up in spaces and places where I'm representing my country, not because of my color, but I'm just representing my country of where I come from. It's such a diminishing feeling and space to think about yourself and your life, and it's quite limiting in your belief when you're in the US and you look at yourself as a color. Like, it's a really big deal. And it's only until I've gotten out of the US and spent 10 years abroad and in loads of different countries have I realized that I'm more than a color, and I get to be proud of where I'm from. And I do get to be happy to be an American, but I just get to be an American woman. I don't have to label myself as a color. And that is a huge thing. Also, here in Europe, nobody is really yelling racial slurs across the street, or there's not that many Karens. It's just not the real way of life here. Granted, some places like France have their own issues, their own racial culture wars that they're kind of going through. Spain is a little bit different, but here's the difference between Spain and France for me and from my personal experience. In France, there's so many more Black people just around and walking across the streets. And I'm talking about in Paris. There's so many Black people. So I don't necessarily feel as if I'm walking in the street and people are looking at me and they're like, okay, this is something that I haven't seen before, as they do here in Barcelona. It's not typical. It's not normal. Yes, there are a lot of us out here, but there's way more Black women in France. And Paris is such a big international city, whereas Barcelona is a little bit on the smaller side. And I don't necessarily feel that people are looking at me and questioning and wondering where I'm from in France. Spain, they do it a little bit more, but out of curiosity. It's not necessarily that they're looking and it's not a nasty thing. It's more of a curiosity and of interest, and people are like, well, where are you from? Because also, first of all, you just look something other different. But then with myself, I like to be someone who likes to integrate myself into other cultures and languages. So then maybe I do start speaking French and people are like, wait, are you Belge? What is this? Because you look American, but you're speaking like this and you have this accent sometimes. It's like confusing. And I always say that when people are interested in you, you're a Black woman, you represent us. Answer the questions. Don't be afraid, or don't take the curiosity as always some sign of aggression. 9 times out of 10, it's not. And there's actually a moment I'm remembering now as I'm talking to you guys with my friend, and my best friend out here is Black. Her name is Ebony. And sometimes we're walking and maybe we'll hear a Spanish older woman say, oh, que negritas. But they're not saying like, which literally means, oh, look at the Black girls. But they're not saying it in a derogatory way. It's just like, oh, look at the black girls, they look nice, they're walking in the street, that's so cool. It's not mean, it's not negative. And if somebody does make fun of you here in Europe, they're just probably making fun of you because you're an American. They're not necessarily pinpointing that you're a black American. They're just laughing at you because you're American, because we do silly things. But as a black woman living abroad, I just feel that when I'm in rooms, when I'm in spaces and places, I have so many opportunities to represent us and to show that American black women are powerful, we're smart, we're educated, we're natural born leaders. In case you guys haven't known that, it's a Forbes proven fact that we are natural born leaders and we're awesome. Also, mind you, all black women, but all women are amazing, okay? But I did just want to speak to my American black girls who are thinking like, oh my gosh, do I do this? Do I make the move? Do I move abroad? Absolutely. And then you have, of course, the normal travel tips that I can tell anyone, which is just be careful, understanding the neighborhoods of what's happening and what's going on. Don't be a silly tourist and have your phone out and have your valuables out. You really should just be aware of what's happening and what are your surroundings as a woman in general. But as a black woman, I don't feel as if I have that sort of heightened awareness of being a black woman as I would in the US. It doesn't translate the same way. And it's a really freeing feeling. And I've worked in so many different spaces and places, and I've gotten so far. I can't begin to tell you how many jobs I've gotten just because I am an American, but it wouldn't be this, it's not the same here, even in terms of DEI. It's a very interesting concept here in Europe because it's mostly people talk about themselves from where they're from. So it's like, this person is Belgian, this person is Danish, this person is American, this person is Spanish, this person is Portuguese. And it's difficult to then go inside of it and say, this is a black Portuguese person. It's just not how it works. It's really not. But I think it's important for you to come out here and try it on your own. I'm going to be talking more in these series about how to get jobs, how to move around, how to travel on a budget, how to travel luxury. There's so many different ways, and Europe is such an important catalyst for myself, and I just want to open it up to other people to learn about, to explore, to travel, and to just know more about yourself. There's something so freeing when you're traveling, and when you're traveling alone as a black woman abroad, you just learn how to create your own life. You learn how to make your own rules. You learn that you don't have to always carry this title on your forehead, a black woman. You can just be an American girl traveling around the world, learning, inspiring, becoming a better person for yourself so that you can be a better person for your kids and for the next generation and for somebody else, your husband, your sister, whoever, you know? So guys, yes, it is safe to move to Europe. Yes, it's safe to live here. Of course, there's neighborhoods that are rougher than others. Of course, it's going to be different if you move to a big city as opposed to living in a smaller city. And it's going to vary country by country, but it's also going to depend on you. Are you willing to open yourself up? Are you willing to learn a new language? Are you willing to be the oddball in the room, but take that and use that as an experience to make yourself a better and bigger and grander person? A lot of these depends on a lot of things, but guys, trust me, I've been traveling this world for a really long time. I've been living out of the US for 10 years. You'd have to pay me mad money to move back to the US, truly. And I love going back home. I love my country. I'm coming back to New York next month, but I am someone who loves to travel, loves experiences, and ultimately my goal is to have my own travel TV show where I can actually go around and instead of just speaking about these things that I'm talking about, showing it to you. So there's more to come in the series. I can't wait to talk to you guys and let you all know what's happening and what's going on. But guys, first and foremost, it's safe, okay? Now that you know it's safe, don't be afraid to step out of your box and move and travel around the world. If you're someone who is a black woman living abroad, please, I highly recommend that you share your story below. Sometimes people don't realize that their voice matters. And when you share your story with somebody else, you're giving somebody an opportunity to think of life differently. So please share your story. If you are someone living abroad, please tag another YouTube channel, tag another creator, tag all the people that you know. And if you have more questions and you want more answers or you want different topics of things that you want to learn about moving abroad, let us know and we'll answer you, and we'll try our best to make it so that you can just find it within you to make this bold move and to move across the world. You can do it. If I can do it and succeed, guys, you can do it too. Anyway, thanks for watching. I can't wait to share more with you, and I'll see you guys soon. Ciao.